Hey up guys! So another year has come and gone, so it's time for me to do a top 10 films of 2020 video for you. Couple rules before we get started with the top 10. In order for a film to have made this top 10, it had to have been firstly released somewhere in the world in the year 2020. And secondly, I have to have seen it. Sadly, I haven't seen all the films I wanted to this year. Some because COVID and they were cancelled, and others because they haven't been released in my country, the UK yet, and I just haven't had an opportunity to watch them. So yeah, if I haven't seen it, it's not going to make the list. And yeah, there are some exclusions that I might have made my list, like The Father, First Cow, Never Rarely, Sometimes Always, Wonder Woman 84, and The King of Staten Island. I haven't seen any of these, sadly, so these will not be making an appearance in this video, I'm afraid. Alright, let's get to it. Alright, kicking off the list at number 10, we have one of the few blockbusters of 2020. Honestly, this film only just scraped it into my top 10. It's Christopher Nolan's Tenet. Let me be frank, I don't think that Christopher Nolan's Tenet is his best work. Lord knows this film has its issues, like the loud sound mixing, the lack of emotional investment in the characters, and also, what the hell was it even about? To say the plot was confusing is putting it politely. However, we get so few films which are as ambitious and as original as Tenet. I may still struggle to fully comprehend what is happening in Tenet, but I adored the style, the practical stunt work, the thrilling action set pieces, and the performances. Nolan dares to do what nobody else can, and I will always respect and appreciate him for that. Coming in at number 9, we have one of the best horror thrillers of the year. It's Leigh Whannell's The Invisible Man. Again, this film is not without its problems. On reflection, this film does have a few glaring plot holes. God, that really just shows how slim pickings this year really was for films. If I'm willing to overlook glaring plot holes and it can still make it into my top 10, I'm losing all credibility here. But on sheer entertainment value, The Invisible Man was so fresh, the creep factor was off the charts. I love it when a film can get under my skin and stays with you after you've watched it. This film did just that. Inspired by the novel by H.G. Wells, Whannell gives the story of The Invisible Man a modern day upgrade by framing the film from a technological standpoint as well as a domestic abuse angle. Elizabeth Moss gives one of her best performances as Cecilia, a tormented woman trying to get away from her ex Adrian, who is seemingly invisible and out for vengeance. The film is well shot, it's got an atmosphere that you can cut with a knife, and it is one of the most genuinely nerve-wracking watches of 2020. Proving that what you don't see is in fact scarier. Coming in at number 8, we have a film that really spoke to me as a gay man. It's Joe Mantello's adaptation of Mark Crowley's stage play, The Boys in the Band. Featuring an all-gay cast of incredible talent, The Boys in the Band is a touching examination of the gay experience for 9 homosexual men in New York in 1968, and what's amazing about this film is that even though it was written in the late 60s, early 70s, it still resonates with today's modern gay man. It's a story told with unflinching honesty. It's both joyful and deeply saddening. It marries raw, witty, and poignant writing with characters with actual depth, which are phenomenally performed by its actors, and it's also expertly directed by Joe Mantello. It is funny, but it also packs an emotional punch, a total Netflix sleeper hit. Next up, continuing the LGBTQ Ryan Murphy produced content for Netflix trend, we have a documentary which made me weep. It's Chris Boland's A Secret Love. Boland's touching documentary about his 2 lesbian great aunts is the type of simple, earnest documentary that renews your faith in love. A forbidden love story spanning over 60 years, Pat Henshaw and Terry Donahue had to keep their lesbian romantic relationship a secret for decades. It's a documentary that proves that love conquers all. This film is so sickeningly sweet. It's practically oozing sap from it. I didn't think a film about 2 adorable lesbian grannies would set me off as much as it did, but oh my god, I was such a mess watching this film. If you ever need to check that your heart is still working, watch A Secret Love. I had all the feels watching it. I do have reviews for all of the movies in this top 10. If you want a more in-depth review of any of the movies mentioned, all those links in the video description. Coming in at number 6, we have the latest Pixar movie from Pete Docter and Kent Powers, Soul. I got soul, but I'm not a soldier. I got cheese, but I'm not a cheesecake. With the influx of Pixar sequels, as well as a couple of bona fide flops, Soul was the return to form Pixar movie that we all hoped it would be. It's the type of storytelling from Pixar that we've come to expect from them. It's profoundly original, it's thought-provoking, and it's heartfelt. Soul is one of Pixar's most spiritual entries. Trapped between life and death, jazz pianist Joe has to figure out a way to get back to his body so he can get busy living or get busy dying. It's a film which celebrates life, passion, and music. How can you not love a film like this? This film hit all the right notes for me. Lovable characters, avant-garde animation, an otherworldly and uplifting soundtrack from Atticus Ross and Trent Reznor. This is another home run for Pixar. Next up at number 5, we have Chloe Zhao's Nomad Land. I love a piece of cinema which I can just get lost in. And Chloe Zhao's story about a woman named Fern, played in this film by Frances McDormand, who lives in her van, did just that for me. It's a film with very little plot, but somehow it's not boring. Quite the opposite, it's captivating. I think why it works so well is down to a great script, dazzling direction which utilizes beautiful scenery and natural lighting. God, some of the shots in this take your breath away. It's like watching cinematic poetry. Nomad Land feels so authentic. At times, it kind of feels like you're watching a documentary because it just feels so real. The people, the environment, just this story, it all feels so natural and honest. Trust me guys, this film is not to be missed. If you guys are enjoying my work, please help me out by hitting that thumbs up button and let me know your top 10 movies of 2020 in that comment section down below. And if you want more content just like this, then hit that subscribe button. At number 4, we have the latest joint by Spike Lee, Da 5 Bloods. Anybody else loving the Spike Lee renaissance we've had the last few years? When I watch Da 5 Bloods, it feels like I'm watching Spike Lee at his most confident as a director. Somehow, this film is a history lesson, a black comedy, a treasure hunt adventure, an action movie, and a war epic, all rolled into one, and amazingly, it works. The acting is fantastic, particularly from Delroy Lindo. It moves at a great pace, the soundtrack is killer, and while you feel like you learn a lot about Black American history, you're also supremely entertained. Nobody can do what Spike Lee can do. Coming in at number 3, we have the gay romance drama from writer-director Harry McQueen, Supernova. What can I say? There was a lot of amazing gay cinema this year. When all the superhero movies of 2020 have gone away to next year, it's the gay films which have dominated and taken center stage this year. There has been so much great LGBTQ+ content this year. Supernova being my personal favorite. Colin Firth and Stanley Tucci play a middle-aged couple called Sam and Tusker who take one last road trip in their RV before Tusker's early onset dementia gets worse. Supernova features 2 devastatingly good performances from 2 seasoned professionals, luscious cinematography, and emotive direction and writing. Supernova is a tender film which will make you smile but also pull at your heartstrings. It's a film which illustrates the importance of life and love and to never take those things for granted. Would you guys want a top 10 worst movies of 2020 video? If that's something you guys want, let me know in that comment section down below. Also, if you want to follow me on any social media, Twitter, Instagram, or Letterboxd, all those links in that video description. Coming in at number 2, we have another Netflix film, and one that I believe to be a big contender at next year's Academy Awards. It's Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. George C. Wolfe's adaptation of August Wilson's stage play is a magnificent piece of cinema. Everything about it clicks. The writing, the direction, the production design, the costumes, the editing, the music, and of course, the 2 powerhouse performances from its stars, Viola Davis and the late, great, soon-to-be posthumous Best Actor recipient, Chadwick Boseman. Guys, this film is so good. You would be foolish not to check it out. And coming in at number 1, my favorite film of 2020 goes to the Danish dramedy Another Round. I love it when a film that wasn't even on my radar comes out of nowhere and ends up being one of my favorite films of the entire year. It happened last year with Parasite, and it happened again this year at the London Film Festival with Another Round. The film about 4 middle-aged high school teachers experimenting with the liberating effects of alcohol is genuinely intoxicating. You have such a good time with this film. You've got 4 relatable, down-to-earth performances from its 4 central characters, as well as one of Mads Mikkelsen's finest, a perfect balance of hilarity and drama, a genuinely intriguing premise which leads to stupendously entertaining results, and it has the most satisfying ending to any film of 2020. It's both euphoric and cathartic. I haven't been able to get that Scarlet Pleasure song, What a Life, What a Night, What a beautiful, beautiful ride. Out of my head since I saw this film, it is such a tune. Great acting, great direction, has a lot to say about drink culture, which is both entertaining and thought-provoking. And that's why Another Round gets my #1 spot of my favourite films of 2020. But as always guys, it's just one bloke's opinion. I want to hear from you guys. What were your top 10 movies of 2020 and what did you think of mine? I do have links to full reviews of all those movies. If you want more depth and discussion, you can find all those links in the video description down below. Yeah, I think this is my first top 10 films of the year video since I started doing YouTube, which doesn't have any superhero or comic book entries in it. That's madness. But yeah, please do let me know your top 10s of the year in that comment section down below. If you guys enjoyed this, you might like my top 100 movies of the decade countdown. I'll pop a link here for you. If you guys want more movies, TV, and Oscars related content, please do click subscribe. And as always, thanks so much for watching, guys. For more things related to movies, TV, and popcorn culture, I'm Luke Airfield, and I'll see you next time.